Right guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm just going to be showing you how to remove your DT Swiss Freehub body if it's stuck on there and you do whatever you try, you just can't get it off. So I'll go ahead, I'll run through the steps, you should be able to do it yourself. Right, so here we have the wheel. This just happens to be a DT Swiss E1800 spline disc wheel, but it's irrelevant, the same principle applies. It's got, this is using a 12mm through axle, and as you can see there, all I've done is remove the end cap off of there, and the cassette is on there tight. You can't pull that off of there by hand, it won't move. And you can see in the end there, all of that is rust there, as you can clearly see, and there's the end cap, all the rust on it. So I'll show you how to remove that. If yours is like this and you just can't pull it off, you should just be able to easily pull that straight off the end of there. But if you can't pull it off, then I'll show you what to do. Right, so the first option to try is put your cassette back on the Freehub again, and with the lock ring, just tighten up the lock ring hand tight, and then put your hands behind the cassette, lay the wheel on the floor and pull up on the cassette. Try that, and just see if it'll pop off, because sometimes just pulling it off like that, you don't get enough leverage on it. So if you put the cassette back on and try it, I already have, and it won't come off. So you could try that and see if it just pops off, because sometimes it does. But I can see by the rust in there that this one is not going to come off like that. So that's just one option you can try first. Right, so the next step is, this gets a little more involved. Now what you need to do is, the axle's in the middle there, as you can see, that needs to go back through and out the non-drive side, because what has happened is the bearing on the end here, just from lack of maintenance, lack of grease, it's seized onto the shaft slightly, so you can't remove it. So what you need to do is get yourself a bolt of some description with a washer that fits over the end of there, so the bolt will just go in the middle. Obviously if you lay on the floor, the bolt goes in the middle like so, and you've got that sticking up out of it like so, like a bolt and a washer like so. And then what you can do is lay it on the floor, which I'll show you. Right, so this is a non-drive side, so as you can see there, the axle sticks out that far and the bearing's just down in there, the wheel bearing. So what you need to do is get yourself a block of wood like so, with a hole drilled in it, enough so the axle, because the axle's going to come out this way as you hit down on the drive side, the Freehub side, it's going to knock that axle out. So as it comes out, it's got to go somewhere. So if you drill a hole, bore a hole like that in a piece of wood, and then sit your wheel over it like so, so you're not damaging anything, because obviously this is aluminium, so it damages easily. And then what you want to do is sit your bolt over the end of here with a big washer to protect the end of that, because you don't want to damage the shaft, because it won't go, if you damage it, it's going to burr it up and it won't go back through. So what you can do is sit that over there like so. What the best thing to do is, while you could leave the wheel sit like this and just spray some penetrating oil in around here and leave it soak, go and have a cup of tea or whatever, and then come back to it, leave it to soak first, and then when you come back to it, dry it out with a piece of rag. And then what you can do is put that over there like so, and then what you do is you can hit this with a hammer. So we'll go ahead and do that. Right, so I've left it soaking for about 10 minutes. Now I've just cleaned out the rusty old fluid in the end there. Just give it a wipe round like so. Then we move on to the next step. Right, so next I'm just going to place that over the hole in a piece of wood like so, and then put your bolt over there with your washer, and then you can hit down on that. Right, so I've hit down on there a handful of times, and as you can see now the shaft's gone down in, so it's moved, so it's initially got it going. And then if you lift your wheel up, the bearing would have started to come out that side. Right, so next step, spray your penetrating oil over it again and just leave it to soak. Right, so I've just left that soaking again for a few minutes. Now the next job is you got to get that shaft down through the middle of the bearing there, because obviously it's stuck on the bearing. So what you got to do is, again, put your Freehub there over the hole in the wood, stop it being damaged, and then what you want is a 10mm socket there. I'm going to hold that in there. Obviously this wants to be slightly smaller, so there's no point in having it the same size as the shaft, because when you hit this through, this will get stuck in the bearing. So it's got to be ever so slightly smaller than the actual size you need. So 10mm on that. And I'll do the same again. I'll hit that down through. Right, as you can see there, the shaft's just started to move down through the middle. So if you turn your wheel over and have a look, you'll see that the bearing's coming out the non-drive side, as you can see. So now you can hold that up off of the block of wood, otherwise it won't be able to come out through. So you want to just keep that up in the air and then just continue just to tap that through. Right, so I'll just keep it up off the floor there. So you just put your socket in again and I'll just tap that through. There you can see the bearing coming out the other side with the shaft. So I'll just continue to knock that through, like so. Because we're using a deeper drive socket like so, he'll go down inside the Freehub body, like so with the socket, allowing you to knock it far enough in. As you can see, rust down inside there. So now as you can see, the shaft sticking out this side with the bearing, non-drive side. Right, so once you fit your shaft down through, like I just showed, then all you do is get hold of your Freehub and pull it off, like so. Right, so once you remove the Freehub body, then the best thing to do is just, so you can remove your bearing from that side off the shaft, just put that safe, and then you can pull down and you just pull the shaft out, like so. You see the rusty colour on there where the Freehub was stuck on there, and the oil we sprayed on it just to soak in. So there's the actual shaft itself. So you can put them one side, give them a wipe off, and then what you want to do is, there's a spacer there that'll just be resting there, so you can take that away, put that to one side. So next stage is, what you want to do is, where the bearing was on the non-drive side, what's just come out, give that a wipe round in there where it sits and clean it off properly, and then just wipe the bearing off as well and check that the bearing is in good condition. Put it on your finger, spin it. If it feels gravelly or anything, then replace that bearing while you got it out. Just spin it up, see what it's like. If it's good, just give it a wipe off, put it to one side. Right, so here's the Freehub body I've just removed. Now what you want to do is check that obviously if it was seized on there, there's probably a reason why, lack of grease, but just check, put it on your finger and just spin it, and it should spin lovely and quiet and smooth. This one, bearing is knackered in it, this end, it's like it's full of gravel, all notchy, and then there's a bearing in the other end as well, so you stick your finger just in there and that's the same. So this Freehub needs 2 new bearings in it, and as you can see the amount of rust that's coming out there with the bearings, as you can see, look at that amount of rust in there, all the bearings are knackered in it. So I'll put a link on the screen, because I'm not going to get into showing you how to do that, I've already done it before. So I'll put a link on the screen to a 3-pull Freehub body so you can see how to replace the bearings in it. So watch that video if you need to. If the bearings are good in it and it just got stuck on there slightly, then you can go ahead and just give this a wipe over and clean it up. Right, 1, 2, 3. Right, so when it comes to reassembly of this, now I've cleaned up the shaft, and where they get stuck on is, you can see there, a bearing there and a bearing there. That's where they get stuck. That bearing is the wheel bearing, so it's just stuck on there. So on the Freehub bearings. So what you want to do first is, you've got your wheel, the shaft. What you want to do is just grease that where the wheel bearing is going to go. This is the side of the Freehub goes on. It's going to go up through in a minute, so just put some grease on there first, and then what you want to do is you can get a little bit of grease and just put around in there where the bearing sits itself. So just put a bit of grease around in there just to help it, if you don't want to get it stuck on there if you ever need to change your wheel bearings. So just put some in there, and then you can lift the wheel up from the non-drive side and just put that shaft through, and it'll just go through because there's no wheel bearing in the non-drive side at the minute. So you can just put that up, line it up, obviously, and just push it through. So I'll line that up and then just push that through like so until it stops. So that's in there now. And then what you need to do then is, obviously this is the non-drive side. What you want to do is put some grease round inside where the wheel bearing is going to sit. Just paint some round in there because you don't want it to get stuck in there, and on the shaft itself there. Just put a coating inside like so, and then what we want to do is, the wheel bearing you took out, presuming it was in good condition, so you're going to reuse that. So just paint some grease around the outside of it like so, and then what you can do is slide that over there like so, and then what we need to do is put that bearing, get that bearing back in there. Obviously you hit it out from the other side because the Freehub was stuck in there. So what you do is you just lower it down like that, and then I'll show you how to put it in. Right, so next thing you want to do is get a couple of blocks of wood like so, because what you've got to do is hit that bearing in, but you've got to keep it off the ground because obviously you've got the shaft sticking down this side on the drive side where the Freehub body would be. So obviously you don't want that contacting the ground or anything. So if you've got a vise, then you can put it in a vise. I've got a vise, but I'm just showing you, you can do it. You don't need a vise or anything to do it with. I've just got a couple of blocks of wood like so, just to keep it up off the floor. If you've got a vise, all fair and well, you can put it in some soft jaws, make sure it's protected obviously, because the wheel is aluminium and this will all get damaged. So you've got to protect that, even if it's in a vise. So 2 blocks of wood, it's not going to get damaged on 2 blocks of wood. So it's the best way to do it. Just put that on there, and then to tap this bearing back in place, just get yourself a 21mm socket that fits perfectly over the bearing like so. You're not going to hit obviously where the race is in there in the middle. You're hitting on the outer ring of it. So you just put it over like so. Make sure that it's started and it's flush. It's not going in crooked or anything like that. Then you can just place it over there like so. So just place that in like so. Just tap it in place. So just get it started. Like so, just tap it down in place. Right, so once you've got the bearing in place there, you're ready for the next step. Right, so now we're back on the Freehub side. What you want to do is, first of all, is just put grease around the shaft there. Obviously you don't want a problem again if it's getting stuck on, so put some grease around there and then grease up the collar, the spacer collar there, and then slide that down on there like so. Slide that down to right to the bottom, and then what you want to do is get your Freehub body again and just get some grease and put inside where the bearing is there, and in the other end where the collar goes and where the bearing is down in there, just paint some in there. And then what you can do is get your DT Swiss grease if you're re-greasing the 3 pulls on it like so, or if yours is a ratchet, obviously re-grease the ratchets. And then what you can do is put your Freehub body back on, just slide that in place like so, and then get your end cap that you removed earlier on, so your end cap, put some grease up inside the end cap and grease the outside of it that goes against the bearing face, just put some grease in there. Then you can pop that back on this side, so you pop that one on, and then that's the shorter one. And then what you want to do is you pop that one on, and then on the non-drive side do the same thing again, put some grease in it, and then pop that back on the non-drive side, it's a longer one, and then that's on there then like so, and that's the steps complete. Right, so there's the steps complete for you. So if you found the video helpful, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.